All right. Hello, my name is Nolan Gregory, and my group is working on the CSLC ticketing portal. So it's essentially an application where students can log in and submit tickets, and those tickets can be claimed by tutors who will assist you in your park. So those tutors can create, I guess anyone can create tickets. Tutors can also create tickets. Only tutors can really read the tickets. Specific users can read their own tickets. So that gets populated into a separate field, or not a separate field per se, but a separate table on the client side. And then you can update tickets, so tutors can do that. Users cannot update a ticket after they've already made one, and then deletion can only be done by an admin. So CRUD the application, obviously. So the first thing we'll do is we'll actually take a look at the program itself. So go ahead and switch here. There's been a lot of changes made to this. From the last time you guys have seen it, it's totally different. Well, not really totally different, but there's a lot of updates. So I'm not going to be able to cover them all in the 5 minutes that I have to talk. But let's just go ahead and take a look at some of them. So first off, you can see that I have a login button, right? That's pretty cool. And I'm a tutor, right? So I should be able to see my tutor stuff, but I'm not logged in. So it doesn't know that I'm a tutor. I'm sending information to the server, and the server is trying to authenticate me, but I'm not authenticated because I'm not authenticated with Microsoft. So Microsoft isn't giving me an MSOID that I can use to validate myself on the server, which we then use to store server sessions, so on and so forth. And I'll get to that in a second. But firstly, we have some buttons up here, and I've actually made little popovers, tooltips, not really popovers, but you can see up on the logo, there's something that says source code. If I hover over the theme, we get color theme. If I hover over the Canvas logo, we get something that says Canvas. So most everything in the application now has those, as well as screen readers. So it's called SR. Screen reader. If you see in the source code something that says SR only, that's me making something that's screen reader friendly, just so that people with, that are hard of, I suppose, vision can still use the application with screen readers, which is useful. Right? We want everyone to be able to use this. So if I can still create a ticket if I'm not logged in, but there's some things that are a little different. So I'd have to enter my email and I'd have to enter my name. Now, when I'm logged in, I don't have to do that because it's already information that's preloaded into the, the state of the application. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and log in. So we get this nice little login page. It looks different depending on if I'm light mode or dark mode. So we'll use Microsoft Sign On, and it should, oops, don't know why that didn't click. What's going on there? There we go. I'm not really sure what just happened there. We'll sign in with GitHub just because it should take 2 seconds. Sure, we'll stay signed in. There we go. So now we're logged in. So as I said, I'm a tutor, so I have access to this portal over here. And we can see we get this nice little ping animation. So if you see that there, that's actually telling me that there's a new ticket that is made and not claimed. So someone came to the tutoring center, they submitted this ticket, and they have not been helped yet. That's what that tells me. We'll get to that in a second. We'll go over some of the other stuff. So we also have profile, messages, settings, and then our log out button. Most of the other stuff stays the same. I have not made any tickets, so that's not going to be updated. If I go to my dashboard, though, we could see we have all this cool stuff now. This was not here before. This is all new, and we'll talk about a lot of it. So we see we have total tickets 1 and new tickets 1. So this is all data from the past 24 hours. This is filtered from the database to just be data from the past 24 hours. Now, if I were an admin, I'd be able to filter that even further. I'd be able to say maybe the past 30 days, the past semester, the past year, the past 5 years, stuff like that, what you would expect an admin to be able to see at least. Not a tutor. We don't really want tutors being able to access the entire database. If they're making, queries to the database, bing, 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 it's just going to keep, adding load and load and load. And it's just going to strain the database. So let's just go ahead and maybe take a look at the ticket here. So we see that we get this nice little ping animation right next to this open ticket status icon. I don't know if you can see that. We get the name of the professor, the name of the course, and then the name of the title of the ticket, I should say. So this is for an assignment 10 of the database management systems class. Now, Judith is not actually a professor in that course. That's something that we have to implement pretty quickly. It's an issue on our GitHub page, actually. We want the two to sort of be connected in a sense. So if I select a professor, I would want the course to be tied to that professor. If I select a course, I would want all the professors to be tied to that course. Right? It's not super hard to do. It's just something that we haven't done yet. A nice little icon here, and that actually changes depending on the course that it is. So if it's a CIST course, it's a different icon. This is a CSCI course, so we get the CSCI icon. If it's BioI, we get a different icon. ISQA, different icon. Cyber, different icon, stuff like that, just to make it look a little bit prettier. So claimed, we have nothing, and closed, we have nothing, right? Now, if I go here and I click these 3 dots in the corner, we get a really nice pop-up screen. So this is pretty cool. We get the description of the ticket. I can update this if I wanted to. I could say blah, 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 blah. You know, if I'm a tutor, I can add stuff. If I'm a tutor, I can actually add comments down here. And this should have padding. That I don't know why it doesn't. That's I just tested that. That should be fine. I'll have to look at that. Here we got some drop-down actions, so I can copy the ticket ID, which is just this number right here. So that's telling me that there's actually 13 tickets in the database. Those aren't being queried right now, though, because those were created a little bit ago, so longer than 24 hours ago. If I go to ticket title, we'll be able to copy that, and then ticket description, we'll be able to copy that. Here, we have a little flag icon, and this just means that we can flag the ticket. So let's say maybe this was a bad ticket, right? Something that we wanted to bring up later to the admin or the director of the CSLC. We have to go ahead and flag that, and that would be accessible within the database. We would query all flag tickets and then look at them later. It's just a quick way to do stuff like that. And then this is miscellaneous. Don't have anything there yet. I have to talk with the admin and see what he wants. So here we have the student, the professor, the course, and the modality. So it's an online course for this one. And then here, this is currently what I'm working on right now, actually, is getting these to actually be drop-downs. Really simple. It was super simple to do. This is just saying that I was a primary tutor that worked on this. This is the secondary tutor that worked on this. And then this was, the difficulty of the ticket. So, and then outcome is the success of the ticket. We'll talk about that in a second. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. And I want to show you guys something pretty cool. So if I go back to the main screen here, I'm going to open up an application on not an application, another window on my other monitor so that I can show you what's actually going to happen here. So this is all real time. This is real-time data from the database. And I want to illustrate that here by actually modifying the ticket on a separate client. So I'm modifying it on a separate client, which is going to affect the database, which is then going to affect my client over here. And they're 2 separate clients. Remember, think back to like, what is that class called? Communication networks, right? Client server. You can have 2 different clients, each pinging the server, whatever, right? Independent from each other. Same thing. So I have a separate client that's open. I'm going to ping the server. I'm going to send something to the server. It's going to be a post request. That post request is going to send back, it's a WebSocket. It's going to send something back to the clients, echoing out saying, hey, the state of the data has changed in the database. Let's go ahead and repopulate those stateful components. So if I go here, and I'll actually modify it right now, I'm going to move it from a new ticket to a claim ticket. So we'll do that. We'll save it, and I'll give it 1 second. Boom. So you see that updates real time. I didn't have to refresh anything. I didn't touch this page at all. That was all rendered aside from me. So it's all abstracted away from the user. The user won't have to do anything like that. That's all real time. You can see now we don't have a notification here. It's not pinging anymore. Really cool. And my status now here is claimed, which is nice. So you can see that the icons are different. So an open ticket that's unclaimed sort of has this icon that's open, I suppose. There's a circle with partitions in it, not partitions, but I guess slices in it. And we have a full circle and then a circle that's closed. So now let me go ahead and move it to from claimed to closed. So we go here, we'll go to closed, and we will, I guess I'll go back here so you can see it. We'll save it on this side. Now we'll give it 1 second to actually send that information and for the front end to render that. And there we go, to rendered statefully real time. Really cool. So now it's closed. But what I did is I set this ticket to not be a successful ticket. So I said, this is not, I helped the student, but I wasn't actually able to solve their problem. So if we go here to closed, we can see that we now have a little X here. I'm not sure how well that's showing up on my screen. We could see we have this saying it was unsuccessful. We weren't really able to help them. What does it look like if I say I was successful? If I go here and I save that, we'll see that I'll actually update with a green check mark in a second. There we go. So a green check mark. So if anyone's familiar with GitHub Actions, very similar design. If the action fails, it's a workflow. If it fails, you get a red X. If it passes, you get a green check mark. I love that design. I think it's really simple. And actually, this whole application kind of is inspired by GitHub. I really like GitHub. Like it's a really nice design. So that is a successful ticket. If I go ahead and maybe go back to my home page and I move it to open again, move that same ticket to open. Well, oh, sorry, new, not opened. We'll see that this will start pinging again. So anywhere I am in the application, I could be at, maybe I'm checking out the Zoom page, or maybe I'm checking out my schedule or my tutors, or maybe I'm even making a ticket right now. This is still going to ping no matter what, wherever I am, which is cool. That's the magic of components and statefulness. So that's a lot. There's a lot going on here. And there's a lot going on to make sure I'm a tutor. There's a lot going on to make sure I have access to do these sort of things. And let's go ahead and look at the code real fast. I'm running out of time, but we can go ahead and just take a minute to look at that. So we will check out this code. If I can pull it up. Oops. Give me a sec. I guess I could just drag it over here. You know what? That's fine. It is what it is. Okay. So go ahead and close this so that we don't need to see the terminal. This is a script that I wrote to load data from the database. I think we've already seen this before, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. We have, these are our models. We don't even need to spend much time on that either. It's not super useful. We'll take a look at the endpoints. So our endpoints are the actual API endpoints. So these are, if I wanted to say, maybe I want to get all the professors, I would say, cslc.unomaha.edu/API/professors. And if I have the proper authentications, if I'm authenticated, then I can access that. If I'm not authenticated, well, I can't, and I'm going to get a 404. It'd actually be a 500, but whatever. Maybe 503. I don't remember what the error code I gave was. And we can actually provide these query strings to it. So what's a query string? So that's anytime you go to a website and you see a question mark followed by anything. So a question mark, maybe UID, something like that, equals something else. So that is a query string that's going to be querying the database specific to what that is. That's really easy to get off an HTTP request. Pretty simple. And Django will render that out as a dictionary. Not technically a dictionary. It's a little different, but it's very similar. It's called a query dict. It's like a query dictionary. Key value pairs, essentially. So pretty simple to do. And then we can query off of that. So maybe if I wanted to say that the name contains, and we actually use that a couple times in the application. So name contains a PR, right? So that would query all professors with a PR. This is a course. So that's a query all courses with PR in the name. And that's essentially a fuzzy search. If you know about fuzzy search algorithms, kind of like that in a way. And then we have course ID higher than, course ID less than. Codes, so that'd be BioI or CSCI, querying based off of that stuff. Name, department, so all of this sort of thing. It's pretty, we get a lot of stuff like that. Under professor, we have something very similar. And the reason why this is highlighting is because I have a strict type checker on. So this is using Pylance. Pylance is not good. I don't recommend using it. I'm actually going to turn it off. I use MyPy for everything, and MyPy is great. And MyPy says that all this is fine because it is like very strictly typed. If you look at everything, it does have types to it. It's just Pylance isn't good, so I don't recommend it. If we go down to now the front end client side application, you can see we have a ton of code. So this is quite extensive. We've got a lot going on here, and I'm not sure how many lines this is, but I guess, let's see, what did we look at? We looked at the ticket form. So this is a form to actually make the tickets. So for example, with those drop-down fields for professors, if I wanted to query them, this is how I do it. This is the actual code that does all of that. So we can see that so this is some weird, JavaScript, TypeScript stuff. So this is saying, if not professors, question mark is saying that I don't want it to be undefined. So it only continue if it's not undefined. So if it is defined, is loading. So this is saying that right? I assume everyone knows how to read Boolean statements like this, but this is saying if it is loading, right? If professors is not undefined, so professors is technically a promise from a request. So if it is defined in the sense that the promise has returned something useful to us, and we're actually using something called TANSTAC query, so that's why we can use is loading. We don't actually have to manage that state ourselves. Really great. It's a global state manager. It's amazing. So if it's not loading and if it's not undefined, then continue on and allow us to do this sort of thing here. So this is saying that we're making a form field with the name professor. So professor is what it's going to be called in the actual form itself, and then we render it as a popover. And with so popover is whenever I go and I look at, where's this? If I go back here to create a ticket, right? So this is my popover, right? And then this is a command group inside of here. So that's how I can search things. So maybe if I wanted to search Harvey, right? Again, this is a fuzzy search. So, you know, Rhonda Harbach, for example, doesn't have HAR contiguously within it, or as a substring, a contiguous substring, but it does contain an H, an A, and an R. So I prefer that. Some people might not. I do. We can see Harvey's site right there. Right? So that is the drop down that I'm referencing right here in code. Again, this is more of the some more JavaScript stuff where you have, I guess this is TypeScript, where you have this question mark that just says, you know, if it's not undefined. And then this is actually a ternary operator. So we should know what a ternary operator is. It's essentially just a if-else defined on one line. So if this value is true, then do this, else do this. So that's what the question mark and colon represent. What else do we got here? The rest of these are pretty much the same, pretty similar, and they all use custom components that I've made. And then on the tutor ticket form, we could see that this one's a little bit cleaner because I've tried to make these generic fields, and I'm still in the process of porting those over. I don't know if we'll get done with it entirely, but the foundation is there if someone wanted to, I guess, continue doing that. I don't see why they would, but if they wanted to, they could. That's just about it, though. There's so much here that it's tough to cover in 10 minutes, and I've already gone over by 6. So we'll stop there. If there are any questions, you know, reach out, stop me and ask. Be happy to talk about it. But this is really coming along. It's almost done, and we're trying to get it hosted on a server. So if I go here, I'm just gonna, so as a secondary, this is my secondary client. I'm just gonna get rid of that and close that terminal. And then if we look here, it says my Docker container. We really want to get this hosted on the server, but the issue is that the server runs on a different, we're using Nginx as a proxy. The current server runs on Apache, and we don't know if it has enough resources to actually host this Docker container. So Docker container is pretty big, admittedly. So we'll see. We'll see. It's something that we're in the process of working on right now, but we'll see. All right. Anyway, that's about all I got. Take care. Bye.